Hey everyone, today we have a unboxing video, which I know everyone loves, but I like to do them anyway. So we have a Evolution 15-inch saw. It's the heavy duty one, the one that's supposed to have the cast aluminum base, and I believe it actually comes with a blade as well. I think it's 15 amp, don't quote me on that one, but it's a metal cutting saw. And the reason why I got this one is because that red one is a giant pile of garbage, and it is now listed on the internet for free. As soon as I got this one, I am doing a little bit more metal cutting, and that saw just is not cutting it, literally not cutting it. So this is a new one. When you buy this, you do have to be careful that there's one that I believe only does 90. I don't know, it's a lot cheaper. It says it's, you know, there's more or less the same thing. So the only thing I found that's really that much different about it, besides $100 in price, was it doesn't have the ability to do 45s or anything in between. I could be wrong, I don't know. I just figured the more expensive one's probably better, and every time I end up getting a cheaper one I regret it, so I decided to go a little bit higher on this one. So I'm hoping this will serve me well in the future. It's supposed to be a 15-inch saw, so that's going to be a pretty decent sized cutting ability. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lower the table, and we'll put you up so you can see a little better, and open it up, see what it comes with. So why would I buy this? Well, I'm doing a little bit more metal work. If you are subscribed, metal work is something that you would also like to have a little bit more of. Let me know. If not, then I won't, but I believe any small engine shop should be able to cut and do minor metal repairs. Granted, this is probably overkill for all that. Looks like we have an instruction booklet. I have a feeling we'll have a little bit of assembly required going on here. Looks like we have that. I believe this is to hold the blade. If you hear that buzzy noise, it's because I have to charge something. Oh goody, all this styrofoam. Okay, so first things first, what does it come with? It comes with an Evolution blade. Wow, it's bigger than I thought it was. It's nice though. Carbide, I believe. Suited for steel. Max speed of 1600 RPM. So what is this? This is the blue one? Oh, it's made in Japan. Japanese metal. Okay. Well, we'll look at the blade later. Besides, that's the... Now, don't get me wrong, that's not the inexpensive part. Those blades are not cheap, but this is definitely worth more than that. Wait, okay. I'm gonna have to go on the other side. Put all this together. There's one thing that I'm not a fan of, is getting a crap ton of styrofoam. And there's more. That's not nice. Well, besides right here as well. me pull the table up. We'll take a closer look at it. Okay, now that it's a little higher and I'm not leaning over, let's take a look what we have. If you hear beeping, it's just because people are wanting to come and get that saw. So we have a pretty decent cable here. It says it's 14 gauge. Yeah, I would believe that. There's also rubber on the bottom, so it kind of keeps it steady. One thing I hate about the other one is that it just is jumping all the way around. So turn it around. It's really sturdy, so it's not going to be jumping around a lot. I want to look at the glides. So that was a big problem with my other one. And let's take this for instance. So you put this in here, which is just 12 gauge, I think, steel, 1/8 inch. Not a very good gauge person, but it would routinely kind of bind up. Doesn't seem like it's happening. What's this? Okay, and something I did notice is over here you can pull this up and move it. That's convenient. You don't have to like sit there swerving all day. Now, to move it, assuming, yeah, okay. So that is set at 45. It says you could do 15, 30, and pretty much anything in between, from what I'm assuming. Because right now, that's 15 degrees. I don't know where the 30 mark is. Well, I have to do a little more explaining, but it's actually very smooth. Everything is pulled down nice and tight. It's not hard to move. It's very smooth. Something I also just noticed, it comes with its own Allen to take apart. Well, I guess you're not taking it apart, but you're changing the blade, which I'm not going to do right now. So that's interesting. That's a nice little touch. Has mounting holes. I don't see any burr marks anywhere on it. It is nice that the handle has a little safety. In order to even push it down, you have to be pressing down that. So that's nice. That's a nice little safety touch. Action feels smooth. Kind of want to put a piece of metal in. Let me open the blade and we'll do a test as well. So while I'm setting this up, let me explain a story. I made a fairly large cart not that long ago, and I had to use it almost exclusively with a bandsaw. Well, I had to build it and cut everything. Now, anyone who's ever used a bandsaw will know that when the blade gets damaged, it becomes a real pain to use, especially when you're trying to cut straight and in a reasonable amount of time. So, it's going to be a welcome addition. Not that I don't love my bandsaw. I mean, it's not a very large one, it's a little portaband, but in times of need, it will get the job done. You just hopefully that your job isn't that big. Okay. Yeah, it's smooth, and I don't have to worry about it. Let's take a little less off there, why don't we? I mean, this is just a test cut. That's a pretty decent size. So, should be fine. Let's plug it in. Now it says it needs, I think it says 15 amps. So, it's on a 20 amp breaker. No, excuse me. The breaker itself is at 20 amps, but the extension that I'm connecting it to, which is the only thing that's on that breaker, by the way, has a limit of 15. Let's get a pair of safety glasses on. Man, I don't know if you saw that, but that was smooth. And look at that. I can literally hold it in my hand. It does have a lot of chips. But you are cutting metal with a fairly relatively thick blade. But look at that. I like that. It's going to be a lot better. So, this side was cut with a bandsaw. You notice there's like, when metal gets hot, it does that, especially with the chop saw. With my old one, oh man, it was horrible. You would be cleaning up burrs everywhere. This, no burrs. It's barely even sharp. I like that. I like that a lot. And it was fast. Before, with a abrasive blade like the other one, not only would you have sparks, but you would have a whole lot more noise, a whole lot more, a lot slower, a whole lot more heat. I mean, look at the end of it. There's no heat issues whatsoever. I'm literally able to touch it as soon as I cut it. That's a nice feature by itself. So, I'm happy with it. The only thing I can think of that is a little odd is just a little heavy, but at the same time that's good. I don't want to be underpowered or easy to be moved or anything, so this will be a good addition. So hopefully this helped if you were thinking about it. I was reading the book, and it is like what I was expecting. It will not, a cheaper one will not have the ability to move to a different angle. So if you are needing to cut in a different angle, this one is the one you're going to want to get. There's also a 14-inch one. I do believe that one can also go into cutting angles, and there might be another cheaper alternative for that as well. I got the 15 just because it wasn't that much more expensive, and you might as well. Why not? Live a little. Okay, but other than that, it's a very good saw. I'm gonna enjoy it, probably put it to work right now, and keep on moving along. So hopefully this helped you out. If it did, leave a comment below, put a thumbs up. If you have any questions on it, definitely let me know. I'll be happy to answer. I'll be using it for about another hour this evening until my project is done, so I'll be able to answer a couple more questions that I can't answer while this video is going on right now. But other than that, it seems a pretty good little saw. Let's unplug it. It has a lock, which I feel like is probably legally mandated to have one, but I don't know. There's a spot. Yeah, so it folds down in a nice little conveniently small package. Okay, well, hopefully this helped out. Definitely subscribe, put a thumbs up. Catch you in the next video. Have a good night. One final bit, actually, before I continue. If you have a normal, well, I don't want to say normal, but if you have one of those out there, read the instructions very thoroughly. I'm not saying it's a bad saw, and people use them all the time, I'm sure. I used it for a decent amount, and it worked. I just don't like it. Too much sparks, too much heat, too much of a lot of problems. This one has significantly less problems, but the safety part that I want to bring up is this. That blade over there is designed for a certain RPM that saw is able to achieve. That blade is meant for a much higher RPM. This machine will not get to that higher RPM. So if you were to think that you can just buy this blade and put it on a different type of saw, do not do that. That could be very dangerous. There's a maximum RPM rating for a reason. Follow that rating. You don't want to... Oh, I know what this is for. This is probably for... Okay. Anyway, you don't want to be that person to have an emergency because you just put a different blade on and you wanted to cheap out. Don't do that. Get an actual Evolution saw with an Evolution blade or other blades, whatever, but don't try to put one of these blades on a machine that is going to over rev it and potentially cause harm. Okay, that's gonna be my safety bit. Have a good night.